of 1870, the claws of the Prussian eagle had sunk deep into the soft belly of France and left her weak and divided. Crushed by the ruthless German war machine, Napoleon III fled to England, and France proclaimed her Third Republic. The strong shadow of Prussian supremacy in Europe lengthened and was reinforced by her vigorous and increasing industrial development. It had allowed Bismarck to realize his dream of a German empire, in which all the ancient principalities were united under the House of Hohenzollern. In 1879, the new, confident Germany was bound by treaty to her old rival and neighbor, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, ruled over by the House of Habsburg. At the same time, these two powerful forces were allied to the imperious and autocratic Romanov dynasty in Russia. Hohenzollern, Habsburgs, and Romanov, united in a league of emperors. These regal monarchs were Tsar Alexander of Russia, Emperor Franz Joseph of Austria, and Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany. 1887, the Hohenzollerns reigned supreme. Living quietly with their surviving children, the Crown Prince and Princess were excluded from power and politics by Bismarck and the Emperor. Their eldest child, Prince Wilhelm, increasingly at odds with his parents, married Princess Victoria of Schleswig-Holstein-Augustenburg, familiarly known as Dona.
What do you think of this picture of the Tsar? He sent it to me personally. I shall visit Russia shortly, Dona. And he will make me an honorary colonel of one of his regiments. It is customary. And it's as well to be on good terms with them. So Bismarck says.
Bismarck had been for 2 decades master of Germany and honest broker of the continent, the Iron Chancellor.
When I die, I should like them to sling my body in a hammock between 2 of these trees. It's a burial custom of a primitive type somewhere. I should like that.
You will have many more years, Your Excellency.
The first 70 years of a man's life are the happiest. But if my wife is called away, I do not wish to remain behind. Did you bring the pension bill draft?
Yes.
Men are like animals. They are contented as long as they are well fed and secured. Now the state will provide for them. That will take the wind out of the sails of the socialists.
At a cost?
A revolution will have cost a great deal more. Leave it. I'll read it tonight.
You need to.
I must know everything. But I'm bored, Holstein. The great work is done.
When the Emperor dies,
Things will not change.
the Crown Prince will want reforms.
And he will find himself in a difficult position.
Your Excellency is not thinking of retiring?
I can never retire.
And when my grandfather dies, will you serve my father?
If I'm spared to.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be spared, but you don't admire him, do you?
The capacity for admiring man is only moderately developed in me. It's an effect of my eye that is sharper for weaknesses than good qualities. Your father will want me to obey the majority. That requires a suppleness of character I don't possess.
Yes. But would you remain chancellor?
It will be my duty.
Oh, you'd become a liberal then?
Oh, I've never been doctrinaire, liberal, conservative, reactionary. All these names seem to me useless luxuries, like the trappings of state. The emperor gave me the order of the Grand Cross. I would sooner have had a horse or a barrel of good Rhenish wine.
God, your cellar's full of wine.
Maybe enough, but I intend to drink more than 5,000 bottles of champagne before my life is out.
God, you eat and drink far too much. Sad for you.
I dare say I shall reform. I have a doctor now, but he asks questions, and I don't answer questions.
Then you must have a vet.
Oh, I'm chiefly suffering from age. It will kill me in the end. Two things have given me great pleasure in life. Wine and politics. Now the doctor has forbidden wine, and I'm to eat herrings and drink beer.
And what about politics?
There's nothing more to do in our lifetime except hold what we have.
Oh, but my dear Prince Bismarck... yes, do smoke if you wish.
Thank you.
My dear Prince Bismarck, I cannot possibly agree with that. There are always new situations to create.
Oh, a statesman can't create anything. He must wait and listen until he hears the steps of God sounding through events. Then leap up and grasp the hem of his garment.
When I am emperor, I'm going to make Germany a world power. With my talents and your experience.
I shall not be here.
Well, I hope you will be. But in any case, I must start learning now.
The best school would be a circus training under a juggler. All contending forces must be kept in the air, but only so high that one can catch them again. However, it wouldn't be a bad idea if Your Highness were to attend the Foreign Office, say twice a week.
Your father, the Crown Prince, has married certain views.
I know.
English views. With respect, they do him no good.
Oh, yes.
He fails to appreciate that continental Europe is held in balance by a series of treaties negotiated by Prince Bismarck.
I see we have more railways than anyone else.
Yes. The Chancellor has formed a League of the Three Emperors. Your Highness has heard of it?
No.
It is a private understanding between His Majesty, the Emperor Franz Joseph of Austria, and the Tsar of Russia. And therefore...
Tsar Alexander speaks very highly of me.
We all do, Your Royal Highness, and that is why we trust the understanding will continue.
Oh, yes. I intend to visit the Tsar in the near future.
There is no need. He is coming here.
Oh?
Please read these inside the building.
Come. Oh, dear.
But we are as strong as these pieces of paper.
And as our army, Baron.
Our army is simply a credit of strength to balance our account. Yes. Prince Bismarck used to scorn treaties, but now our position depends on them. They deserve as much study as trains. They resemble a tangle of lines at a large railway junction.
And the chief signalman is growing old, so younger men must seize the initiative.
Your Royal Highness, initiative without tact is like a flood without dikes. We have to play the great game against England.
Against our natural ally?
There are no natural allies, only marriages of convenience and occasional adultery.
Yeah. What? No love matches?
Very few.
Well, then, I must learn quickly.
Oh, but there is no hurry, Your Highness.
Ah, there may be. My father is not well.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that.
Yes, come in.
Good morning, Papa.
Willie, what a rare surprise. Huh? Why are you wearing that?
I put it on as a compliment to Mamma.
Very thoughtful of you.
I trust I find you well, Papa.
I have a cold.
You have too many colds.
I'm sorry.
Ah.
My throat is slightly inflamed. How is Donna?
Oh, she is indisposed this morning, but that's quite usual in her condition.
I trust this time you'll have a daughter.
That would give no happiness to me. I would rather provide princes for my country and secure the succession. But, of course, in this family, I do realize the daughters are preferred.
Don't be absurd. And when your mamma gets here, please try not to discuss politics.
Oh, it's impossible to discuss politics with Mamma. She knows very little and she always gets angry.
Your mamma understood politics when you were in your cradle.
I know. And she has the same views as my English grandfather.
Who was a great and enlightened man.
And who died a quarter of a century ago. I read one of his memoranda in the Foreign Office this morning.
Where? You read? Where?
Well, I thought you knew.
I know nothing.
Well, Prince Bismarck has most kindly arranged for me to be attached to the Foreign Office.
Nobody consulted me.
Nobody trusts you, do they, Papa? It's a useful part of my education to see dispatches and learn how foreign affairs are run. The Chancellor thinks. I find it quite interesting.
Bismarck hopes to influence you. All I've had for the last 20 years from that man have been insults. I've never been allowed access to such things.
He has my grandfather's permission. The Emperor is simply looking to the future.
The future, thank God, is not entirely in your hands. It is your mother's and my daily prayer, Willie, that I shall live long enough for you to grow into a stable and serious man before you have to rule. You are not ready, Willie.
Ah, Mamma.
Willie, dear. Your grandmother would be pleased. Oh, my darling.
We are honored, my dear, to have our son with us here today. He has spared us some of his valuable time at the Foreign Office, where he's been learning to take over the affairs of the country.
What is this?
Papa is offended by what seems to be a perfectly normal arrangement. Prince Bismarck thought that in my...
Prince Bismarck has arranged for Willie to have access to Foreign Office dispatches.
Willie, to see dispatches?
Yes, Mamma. I can't stand endlessly in the wings of the theatre of life. I am an adult and I'm second in succession to the throne.
You are an extremely immature, conceited young man. Your father has been serving his country faithfully for the last 30 years, and he has never been allowed near the ministries. You must write to Prince Bismarck at once.
It's only Fritz trying to interfere again. Don't be angry, Bismarck.
The Crown Prince thwarts me at every step.
No, nobody thwarts you, not even me. And you won't have to put up with me much longer.
Oh, Majesty.
It's been no easy thing to rule under you. Now, of course, Willykins must visit the ministries. So much to learn in government now. So much. This.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Bismarck. When is the Tsar coming?
In June.
Well, I shall receive him, but I can't do too much of this standing. So perhaps my son...
The Crown Prince wants to go to England for his dear Mama-in-law's jubilee.
No, don't be familiar.
I'm sorry, I mean for Her Majesty Queen Victoria.
She may have reigned longer than I have, but she's not so old. Don't let him go. But I won't have him or his wife interfere here. Yet.
My father has a serious throat infection. The doctors say it may be malignant, but they can't be sure. Of course, these fellows never are. Grandmama is sending for a specialist from England, someone called Mackenzie, but no one here thinks much of him. It is a grave responsibility.
He can hardly speak. There is a growth. They have been cauterizing the cords. Imagine the pain. Dr. Bergman wants to operate.
Having tortured your husband, they would kill him now. Will you allow it?
It is not for me to allow. I can only submit.
Well, I would say it was better to fall into the hands of God than into the hands of those men.
You'd have him die?
No, your hands. Your husband is heir. And my wife and I feel they shouldn't start cutting him. You should have better advice.
Whom do you suggest?
The Council of Ministers say you should send for a man called Mackenzie, who is better than anybody else in Europe. He's an Englishman, unfortunately. But I'm sure your mother can procure him for you. It's not my affair, but I help in any way I can.
Prince Bismarck. You're very kind.
I spent my life serving the Crown Prince's family. The Emperor, poor old gentleman, is failing. And you, Prince Wilhelm, is still too headstrong.
At least we agree about that.
It is inflamed. From their treatment, simply.
Do you wish to operate?
Operate? No. The operation they suggested is very dangerous. And all your Royal Highness needs is rest.
Is it malignant?
No, it is not malignant.
Are you sure?
Yes, Your Highness, quite sure. There is no question of it. However, I should like the Prince to attend my clinic in London.
Wanted to go to London?
We wanted to go to London for my mother's jubilee.
Then go, Your Highness.
It will be difficult. The Emperor is very frail. People would not wish me to go.
In which case, Your Royal Highness, I will prescribe it.
Our son, Prince William, is preparing to represent us.
There is really no need, ma'am.
He will be disappointed.
In my opinion, sir.
Yes?
In my humble opinion.
Oh, come on, Holstein, what's your opinion?
The Crown Prince should not be allowed to leave Germany.
That's not important.
If the Emperor dies,
He will return.
young Prince William hopes to represent both the Crown Prince and the Emperor.
Why?
To make an appearance, sir. I think Prince William has dramatic rather than political instincts.
Oh, let them both go. So they'll be out of the way when the Tsar arrives. There's more to state occasions than princes dressing up. There are three essentials for stability, Holstein. The trust of the people, the absolute isolation of the monarch, and friendship with Russia.
In June 1887, Tsar Alexander III of Russia paid a short visit to Berlin. The ruler of the greatest empire in Europe had turned for friendship and security to the German emperor and the German chancellor.
You're fat.
With cares, Your Majesty.
When are you going to come and see us again in St. Petersburg?
Oh, I was young when I visited St. Petersburg, Your Majesty.
Or do you prefer Moscow?
As I remember it, Moscow was all green. The fields were green, the roofs were green. When they brought me a boiled egg, I expected it to be green.
Well, you have business to do, I think, gentlemen. If you'll excuse me.
Your Majesty is tired.
A little. It's all this standing. Forgive me.
Of course.
Sit down, Bismarck. How old is the Kaiser?
Nearly 91.
And you?
Not yet 73.
The present patterns will alter. I shall not continue the Three Emperors League.
Why not, Your Majesty?
I never liked it. It was a contrivance of yours.
Of mine?
Like all the rest. You have a treaty with Austria.
Mm-hmm. Would you prefer another?
Of what nature?
We would remain neutral in any conflict between Russia and Austria.
For how long?
No fixed end.
Alexander agreed to a further treaty, provided Bismarck remained in power. As 1887 drew to a close, so did the reign of Kaiser Wilhelm I. But the Crown Prince was also dying. In November, Mackenzie and the Berlin doctors held a consultation after re-examining Fritz's throat.
We have reached agreement, Your Highness.
Then tell us.
The condition, Your Royal Highness, is somewhat aggravated. Indeed, one...
He writes, I want the truth.
I'm afraid it is the opinion of all of us that the growth is malignant, as some of the German doctors feared.
But you said...
That it was not cancerous before. It is now, ma'am.
How long?
It's impossible to tell. None of us proposes to operate unless His Royal Highness insists.
It's not hopeless.
While there is life, there is always hope. But there is nothing more we can do.
Thank you. Please leave us.
Don't try to talk, sir. I shall be near, ma'am.
So, Crown Prince is dead.
No, Your Majesty. He's ill, but still alive.
And young Wilhelm, better sign my letter.
Yes, I think so. I'll publish an edict.
Do that, that's good. You've done well, Bismarck. I've always been pleased with you. Always done the French give in.
The French war is long over, sir.
Please, Pass me that.
He has not long to go. I am to sign for him. Until your father can. Oh, he never will. I understand there's an old Prussian law which states a man who cannot speak cannot rule. Rubbish. Well, in any case, my father hasn't long to go either. I've drafted a letter to be sent to the German princes on my accession. Have you read it? Burn it. We can put on our watches, but time doesn't go any faster for it.
On the 9th of March, 1888, the old emperor died, and they took his body from the cathedral, where it had lain in state, to the mausoleum of the kings. Prince Wilhelm, now heir to the throne, represented the sickly new emperor, who was too ill to attend the funeral.
It's the last funeral I go to except my own. The new emperor is too ill to go out of doors. He stood at the window and saluted when we went past. He looked like a waxwork.
The emperor is dead. Long live the dying emperor.
Can still write. He called upon me to remain chancellor. I accepted under two conditions. No interference with his foreign relatives, and no government by parliament.
And did he agree, sir?
He had no choice.
There are rumors, sir.
Of what?
The Empress wishes to be made regent.
How much longer do I have to endure that woman? The old emperor used to say, "Save me, Bismarck, from petticoat government." Well, I manage her and her son. As soon as he's got the crown he wants, I can govern in peace again. Your Imperial Majesty?
Prince Bismarck, are you well?
Thank you, except for a touch of neuralgia here, which will not go.
It never will. My neuralgia never does.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you. And His Imperial Majesty?
He's very weak.
Oh,
They have put a tube in his throat. The operation was very lowering. The air in it makes a horrible noise, but at least he can breathe.
will he be able to...
Oh, his mind is alert. I hope he will do what he wants. In the meantime, I propose that all state affairs should be referred to me.
The Emperor is my master, Your Majesty. I take orders only from him. While he's alive. And after from his son. I hope Your Majesty doesn't attempt to interfere.
That is hard and very cruel.
Maybe, Ma'am, but it's the law. May I see the Emperor?
Chancellor wishes you to sign something, my love. Have you the strength?
Your Majesty can rest assured that I'm your loyal servant and will be your heirs. And I will never forget that Her Majesty is my queen.
Vineyards, unless my sight deceives, and clustering grapes, too, close at hand. And underneath the spreading leaves, what? Yes, Wallenburg.
Not long now, Your Highness. The doctors only give your father a few hours.
Then we must go, Donna.
Come, Anna. I must go and change.
There may be a plot.
Oh, your mother, you mean? And what does Prince Bismarck advise?
He's sitting on the fence as usual, biding his time.
But he'll support you.
Yes. Oh, this stupid attempt of hers to try and cause trouble. She wants to send all my father's documents to England. His letters, papers, private journals, they belong to me.
Then take them.
How?
You'll have the military.
Arrest my own mother?
Well, Your Highness, that may not be necessary, but...
The army shall do it.
Your Majesty. Your Majesty. The soldiers, they're all over the place.
Quiet.
But they're here, in the palace and all over the park.
The Emperor is dying.
I have come to see Papa.
He is dead. He's dead. He's dead.
I know. I have come to pay my respects. Where are his papers?
I don't know. What are these soldiers?
They're my men. His papers aren't here, are they? Where are yours?
You know where my desk is.
You had no softness for me. There is nothing here.
No, nothing.
this?
It came from your grandmother when you were born.
Is it a fine boy?
Seems as if I had seen a fine, noble ship sink at sea. With all the nation's hopes, its freedom, its progress.
Go to your room, Mama!
Absolutely superb. Yes. Oh, do go on, do go on. Very well. Tomorrow, then? I'm building a yacht to race at cows. Also a train. I'm designing the carriages myself. They're all going to be in white and gold. Yes, I shall be traveling a great deal now.
And how was your visit to St. Petersburg, Your Majesty?
Oh, very cordial, but the military reviews we saw, I thought were clearly aimed against Germany. Fortunately, I'm the great favorite of Tsar Alexander, so I shall be using my influence to deflect the Russian military away from us towards, say, the Balkans.
Against Austria?
Mm-hmm.
Prince Bismarck won't agree.
He's not here, is he? He's just an old man sitting at home by the stove. Oh, I have great respect for him, of course. I grew up as a child and sat on his knee. I'd have given my life for him. But now, well, I'll let the old bounder snuffle on for a few more months and then... Yes.
Ah, you have arrived, Holstein.
Yes, sir.
How is Berlin?
Confused and full of work as usual.
I never liked the place. I never wanted to live there. Here I have peace and nature.
And hunting.
I leave the deer alone now. I'd rather see them alive than drill holes in their pretty coats. I have my trees. You must see my trees, Holstein. I plant trees while Gladstone cuts his down. You see? That's the difference between a conservative and a liberal. How's His Majesty?
Dashing about?
The new emperor is like a balloon. If you don't keep fast hold of the string, you never know where he'll be off to.
He also talks.
I've been talking to people all my life. What I say is like water running down the back of a pelican.
Unfortunately, the more important the matter is, the more it seems to interest him.
He can talk, but he must act through me.
He has taken to dealing direct with ministers.
He has no right. Nor have they. I'm the chancellor, until God calls me away.
It is very difficult, Your Highness. The Emperor is surrounded by active men who advise him to rule through the court, that is, through them.
I taught those dogs to bark. Now, if they think I'm to be frightened by the noise, they're very much mistaken. Let me play the line, too. I'll roar. That will do any man's heart good to hear me. You read Shakespeare?
I have no time, sir. You really must return to Berlin, sir. It is impossible otherwise. Even I must follow one line or the other.
Even you? Even you are going to desert me.
Either the Emperor must rule, sir, or you.
I will not be put down like like an old dog.
Russia is the enemy, gentlemen. Therefore, we must be strong and united, and above all, we must have good morale. Now, for example, these miners in Westphalia are on strike. They're overworked and underpaid. I intend to make the owners provide better wages and conditions.
There's a ministry for that.
I wish to be king of the poor, Chancellor, as well as of the rich, like my illustrious forebear, Frederick the Great.
Mutineers, get the police out and shoot them.
And plunge us all into civil war? I don't intend to start my reign by shedding the blood of my subjects. Well, what do the rest of you say? I see. I have no ministers. You're all Bismarcks.
If Your Majesty insists on these dangerous policies...
Yes?
Your Majesty should constitutionally consult his chancellor.
You're never in Berlin.
This is a royal order made by His late Majesty in 1852. If I may draw Your Majesty's attention to it, it forbids other ministers to approach the crown without the consent of the minister-president, which I also am.
What is this old piece of paper he keeps waving at us?
It is despair, Your Majesty. We have come from the political deathbed of a great man.
You can revoke the 1852 order by royal decree.
Can I, Holstein?
Oh, yes. Or Your Majesty could call upon the Chancellor to annul the order. If he refuses, he must go, and it would be his own doing.
Oh, then I would feel as if I'd lost another grandfather. Still, if this is the fate which God has decided for me, then I must bear it. I must find a new chancellor. You'll advise me there, Philip. And Waldersee will answer for the army. You, of course, Count Holstein, will take the foreign ministry.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, well, I shall visit Prince Bismarck myself then. First thing tomorrow morning. See to it. So, it has fallen to me, then, to be the officer of the watch on the ship at state. The course remains the same, but now full speed ahead. Do you trust Holstein?
Oh, he works hard, but he's no imagination. His only claim to distinction is to have ordered an egg on a veal cutlet. May I advise, Your Majesty?
Of course, I value it.
Your Majesty should proclaim that Prince Bismarck had to retire because of ill health.
Your Majesty.
I have been waiting for half an hour.
I had no idea.
I sent you a message.
Nobody told me I was in the garden playing with the dogs.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Will Your Majesty please sit down?
No. I have a busy morning. I see that you are not exactly overwhelmed with the business of state.
Oh, I see all the necessary papers every evening after dinner. I sit and go through them.
Everything is referred to you.
Too much. It's too much.
Yes, I agree. Too much.
Has anything gone wrong? Something considerable to carry Your Majesty here that early? I feel imperfectly shaved and incorrectly dressed. Please, do Your Majesty sit down.
I prefer that we stand. You have invoked the order of my royal forebear?
It was a law made to establish the position of the First Minister.
Which I will now revoke.
Your Majesty doesn't intend to diminish the chancellorship.
I have the power to. Do you wish to sign it? Or will you still oppose me?
I oppose what is unwise. I have served you, your father, your grandfather, but Your Majesty wishes to do everything.
I wish to be obeyed.
Oh, you find any number of people who will obey. You can be like the Tsar and rule through decrees. I stand for good government.
And I do not. Just because you are elderly, do not suppose that you may speak as you wish.
You're speaking as two men. I as the old,
and you as the young one. But man to man, your powers stop at my door.
Then who is to rule Germany, the Emperor or his chancellor?
The two together. But I will not serve in chains.
I am your sovereign!
I've worn my yoke long enough for better masters. You may take my papers if you want to cover it up! Oh. I beg your Majesty's pardon. I spoke hastily.
And very stupidly. What is this? The Russian imperial crest?
This is nothing. That's private papers.
It's a letter, isn't it?
From the Tsar, it's personal.
It's about me.
His Imperial Majesty honors me with his confidence.
Why should he write to you about me?
It's conversation.
He is a badly brought up boy of bad faith.
It's his opinion.
I will not have it. In future, all state affairs are to be referred to me.
Your Majesty expects me to resign?
You may write your letter when you wish. I will accept it. I'm not ungrateful, but I'm not a child. I'll say you are ill.
But I am Bismarck! Your Majesty! We can arrive at some arrangement.
Prince Bismarck?
Thank you for seeing me, Mom. I have come from His Imperial Majesty.
That is usually exhausting. Are you well?
Passably. The muscles of my face are like a set of bells. Once put into motion, they will never stop ringing. But you suffer yourself.
What have you come to say to me?
I was woken badly. His Majesty called at the chancellery, and I had not been told. Our meeting was sordid. I will not bore you with the details. The Emperor has commanded me to resign.
I'm sorry.
Are you?
I'm sorry if it was done brutally. Not surprised.
I must confess I did get into a rage, and I made a mistake. But I shall offend your Majesty.
I'm past offense.
It's not important. I think I should have watched over your son more carefully since he came to the throne.
You watched him well enough before.
I have settled all Europe except him. I think it's commonplace that one whom one has nourished should bring one down. But it is not pleasant.
Why do you tell me?
I have come to ask for your Majesty's help. I do not relish oblivion.
I cannot help you, even if I would.
I thought only death could move me.
Now you know what it is to lose one's position.
I've never cared for the trappings of position. I've cared for power, and that is a hard duty. You think it was easy? And that I didn't have any feelings? Often, the slightest thing assumes vast proportions in the night and lies like a mountain on my chest. I've spent whole nights hating. And yet, in the mornings, I live for it again. I am the iron support of this country. You must speak to the Emperor for me.
I'm sorry. You yourself, Prince Bismarck, have destroyed all my influence with my son. I can do nothing. We dig our own graves.